Good morning! Today I'm here to show you some tips and strategies that you can use to succeed while doing your IELTS exam. Hope you enjoy! Let's dive right into it. We'll start with listening. Okay, so in the listening part you have 40 questions divided into 4 different sections. Each section will increase its difficulty as it goes. So here are some things that you can do in order to slay this part. Section number 1. This part is often a telephone conversation between two people. You must listen to specific information such as names, dates, times, places, and numbers. Which brings us to our first tip. Before the recording starts, you'll be given some minutes in order to read the questions that they ask you. But do not only read the questions. Take a deep breath before you start and try to understand the questions in order for you to predict what kind of answers you will need. Prediction and intuition are really important while doing the IELTS, so keep those words in mind. Okay, so I get it. I know how stressful it is when you are so concentrated in the listening part, but the nerves consume you, which causes you to accidentally miss an answer. My advice is to not stop at any cost. Just keep going, move to the next questions ahead, and at the end go back to the questions you missed and try to answer them. Even if they're wrong, answer them. Do not leave anything in blank. Okay, let's move on to the speaking part. Like you already know what this part is about. I'm pretty sure that you have experienced the speaking test in previous Cambridge exams. However, the only thing that changes is that this time you'll be on your own. You won't have a pair, so it depends 100% on you to nail it or not. Here are my tips. Tip number 1. Let's say that you are speaking to the examiner and you suddenly make a mistake. Like, it happens. We're all human, okay? So just keep in mind that it's totally fine to correct yourself. You can use phrases like, well, in fact, or I mean, or I meant to say, or no, sorry, it was blah 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 blah. Tip number 2. When you are doing the speaking task number 2, which is the one that you have to speak for 2 minutes straight, the examiner will give you some time to write your ideas on a piece of paper. I recommend you 100% to do a quick mind map about the topic that you ended up with. This helps you to write your information quickly in a way that it's organized and it's easy for you to read and don't get lost. Let's move on to the reading part. We'll go straight to the tips. Again, you have to predict a lot while doing the reading part. Before you begin to read a passage, try to guess what it is about from the title, charts, tables, or pictures, or other information you see like names and numbers. Try to think about what you already know about the subject. Predicting the subject of the passage and what you already know about it will help you understand the passage better. Tip number 2. Just remember that the answers may be the opposite or negative to the words in the question. Recognizing negative prefixes and suffixes will help you answer these questions. Tip number 3. Some yes, no, not giving questions ask you about the views of the writer. When you answer this kind of question, I recommend you to 1. Read the questions carefully and underline the keywords. 2. Look for words that show attitude, such as believe, agree, or oppose. 3. Look for phrases like the truth is, in reality, and in fact that give the writer's opinion. To conclude, let's go with the writing part. To really excel during this part, a lot of practice will be required, because the more you practice, the easier it will be during the exam, right? So here's a tip for you to practice at home. Tip to practice. Practice for the writing test by giving yourself time limits and practicing test questions. For writing test task 1, you should spend about 20 minutes. For writing test task 2, you should spend about 40 minutes. Make sure you timetable your time during your writing practice sessions and try not to be disturbed and have no distractions during this period. Some other tips. Okay, during writing task 1, you may be asked to describe a diagram or a flowchart that shows a process. To do this, follow the next steps. 1. Give a general statement of what happens in the process. If the diagram has a title, try to put it in your own words. 2. Describe what the process consists of. And finally, number 3. Describe the process in detail using phrases for purpose. And you are finally done! And that was it for today. I really hope that you enjoyed it and learned something new from the video. Bye, see you next time!